Hi there, it's Jo. Wanted to post another video about my journey with gastric sleeve. I'm about 2 weeks out from surgery with Dr. Chavez in Mexico, 5'7", about 250 pounds. Wanted to talk about something that I feel like not a lot of people talk about with gastric sleeve in the videos. And it has to do with, why I weigh 250 pounds. I have been on a little bit of a journey of, self-discovery, if that doesn't sound too hippie-ish, over the last couple of years. And one of the things that gastric sleeve surgery has got me thinking about is, well, why am I 250 pounds? And the answer is that I consume too much. I'm not particularly active, and I eat a lot. And I eat the wrong foods at the wrong time, the wrong place. I do it all wrong. It's not because I don't know how to do it right. I'm someone who has a lot of knowledge about what to eat, but I still make poor choices, even knowing that they're poor. So the question becomes, well then, why do I eat? Since for me, I know it's not in response to just like needing nutrition or hunger. And for me, I use food as a coping skill for being stressed. That's a big one. Being sad, being mad, pick your emotion. I just use food to deal with that. And, being single, I feel like it's even easier for me to do that. I don't really have sort of people watching me constantly. So I'm aware that I do that, and I've been aware for some time. Fortunately, it hasn't really helped me change it very much. So then the question becomes, well, why do I do that? Why do I use food to cope like that? And that's where, for me, really start to get into questions that a therapist can help answer. So I've been in therapy. I'm not currently, but have used a therapist maybe 4 years or so out of the last 6. It originally started for me. I had a broken engagement. I was just looking for someone to kind of help me through that. So sought out therapy and found it really helpful. So I've periodically used that, and this journey has brought me back to seeking out a therapist again, and this time really focusing on this question of, why do I use food as a coping skill? And the reality is, because of a lot of the work that I've done in therapy, I'm pretty confident I know why. For me, as a child, I didn't get a lot of emotional support. I didn't sort of have the freedom to be quite emotional and have someone help me process that. I was sort of left to my own devices, kind of on my own. And then at the same time, I had a much younger brother and sister. So when I was 12, I was certainly caring for myself, but also for a brother and sister who were 1 year old and 5 years old. So trying to meet, some of their basic needs, because I had one parent who worked out of the home in the evening, so wasn't there, and another parent who, really struggled kind of with their own sort of mental illness and challenges, and just trying to kind of stand themselves up, let alone be there for myself and my siblings. So as a child, I can remember at 12 years old using food then. Being at a neighbor's house or babysitting someone's kids and rummaging through their cupboards, which, looking back now is giant red flag. But as a kid, you don't realize what you're doing. And as an adult, it was not something I even thought about. It took me really some thinking about how I use food now and when did that start. And so knowing that it goes back to even being, 12 years old, 20 years ago, that's a lot of habit. That's a lot of time of using food to cope with emotions that I don't really know how to deal with. It makes me great at work. I'm a phenomenal worker because I'm all about the headspace. I'm focused on, what needs to be done. I'm very capable. I'm very independent. But I have a hard time when it comes to how I'm feeling and what to do about those feelings. And so food is really a way to deal with that. So I mention that because I think, there's all this talk about gastric sleeve and its effectiveness long term. And I think one of the issues for me is going to be the fact that, you know, that first 6 months or a year will help me lose weight by restricting the amount of food I can intake. But there's this underlying issue of why I'm eating in the first place that just has to be dealt with if this gastric sleeve thing is going to work long term. So I've sought out therapy again. I'm really excited that I've found a therapist that I've connected with, that has worked with bariatric patients in the past, that has worked with eating disorders. I don't have an eating disorder, I guess, unless you call food addiction an eating disorder. I'm not an expert in that area. But you know, she's someone who has experience. And for those that don't have a therapist in sort of their toolkit, you know, and you believe you might have some issues with food that go beyond using it for nutrition, I'd highly recommend adding that to your list of people. Because for me, I think it's going to be the difference between short-term and long-term success. If you do seek out a therapist, as someone who has some experience with this, find someone that you're comfortable with. If you're not clicking with them from that very first session, you know, my advice is typically to move on. You know, you need to be in that room and be able to share things that you wouldn't maybe share with other people, and that frankly sometimes maybe you had not even really shared with yourself. I've had certainly things that I've come to realize in therapy that, you know, I think I knew but didn't want to admit. So just something I thought I would share. I've only had one appointment with her. I'm very excited about working with her and will continue to do so. So I hope that some of you out there find that helpful, and you know, just asking that question, how did I get here and why am I here? So anyway, hope that all is well, and talk to you soon. Bye.